How
Ab-
are you, Joe? Nice to see you. Lovely.
yes, thank you very
And
much. And
happy birthday. You've just had a birthday.
I've missed you.
Ditto. It's been
Yes,
ages.
yes. No, I'm doing really well.
Good, good. I know that you've had a couple of occasions. I haven't been able to get to them, unfortunately, but I do intend later on in the year to be sort of lurking around your neck of the woods. So I'll definitely give you a
And
shout.
Matt, I love the language that you used. You had a certain couple of occasions. I love that.
Yeah,
But,
it's just my kind of I
but
don't know how I picked up this vocabulary. It's kind of a
yeah, but
mishmash from all sorts.
that is the magic vocabulary. Every once in a while, when I run into somebody, they say, "Oh God, you poor thing! You just had And I look at him like, it was an upgrade, you know,
Absolutely.
how to be uh, positive without being flippant and arrogant.
It's a very hard line to
And
walk.
you learn every day you learn something new.
And I actually think, the way it's almost like singing and poetry, the way that you speak and put out all those frequencies is, I mean, they can kill people as well as heal people.
Yes,
And so
absolutely.
being sort of conscious of what you're saying, um, and how that affects other people is being literally a creator, and you're because you're creating those healing spells or harming spells as
Yes.
you're, the abracadabra kind of thing. I create as I speak, so I'm very much a believer in that, because it's one of the first, along with eyesight, the first forms of energy that
Yes.
we communicate with. So it's really important to
And
kind of
I learned through German New Medicine a couple of years ago that when somebody comes to you and says something, instead of asking what you think about, it could be anything, this, that, whatever, instead of giving your opinion, I've learned how to say, that's really interesting. I've heard a little bit. What do you think? And then you engage.
totally, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's lovely as
And
well because
it's a real good um, it's a real good lesson.
it's wonderful when people open up. There's a whole universe in them, and
Yes,
so it's like a garden. Each flower's got its own perfume, its own
that's
unique
it.
kind of expression, and that's what's so lovely about kind of having conversations with people and getting them to be their, hear their
Yes.
authentic core self. I love that.
And I love the image about the rose because the rose, the seed, is underground in the darkness, and when it starts to bloom, every cell in that bud is going under tremendous pressure until all of a sudden it comes up to the sun. And so it helps to understand when we're going through these pressures that it's part of the blooming.
Absolutely. I mean, a seed needs darkness to reach to the for the light. You
Yes.
can't have one without the other, sort
Yeah.
of thing. So, and what people have a hard time is being in one or the other and not being in both, sort
Yes.
of thing. Because when you understand your light and your dark side as well, that brings that integration brings like a third, holistic whole power, one of oneness. And so, because you see that they're both ends of the same thing,
Yes.
of you, like a magnet kind of thing. And so, getting people to kind of be in the middle of neutral zone, if you like, is really good because then they've got the third option as well. But then not being pulled either way into the dark or the light. They're
Yes.
both of dark and light, but neither at the same time, sort of thing. And that's
Absolutely.
that's like coming out of duality. That's so that's like one of the kind of tools that people need for going into 5D and holistic kind of lifestyles. I think that's really quite important because then also if you're presented with two choices all the time, you're only going to choose one of those. But if you're that creator being in those higher vibes, you know that you can create that third way, your own
Yes.
path.
I,
And so
I,
it's helping
I
people.
just love all that. And it was the idea of recreating the Bayeux tapestry, filling in all the dots and creating the whole thing. And the person that is um, weaving the heart and the head and the face, the person that's weaving the shadow underneath the feet, it's all the same. It's necessary. It's important.
Absolutely.
So it's not a negative. It's part of the tapestry.
Exactly. And actually, in some ways, you need the darkness there to push people to the light.
Yeah.
If there was nothing there, then, and everyone thought everything was perfect in the light, you'd know that that would not be the true case, because dark can't exist without light. So, there would be darkness somewhere, but most people, have convinced themselves that they're in the light and not, in darkness. But a lot of people are in false light. They're like, examples are, they're believing the bad men who are telling them who the bad men are.
Yeah.
They're kind of believing in the false authority, because that's all. They haven't done that checking to see what's true and what's not true, kind of thing.
Mm.
And so, yeah, the darkness can kind of, if you're only, you can get blinded by the light. Like, you see all these flies trapped in the kind of lamps where they've been, you
Yeah.
know, caught and killed and died because they couldn't get out of that lamp, and they were blinded by it effectively. But people can be blinded by that, um, by the light as well. By, you get people saying only do good, only think good, and that's subjective what good is. Obviously be good, think good, do good, but also, know how darkness wants to snuff that out, and then you're more fully rounded and better at being good and doing good.
That's a lovely analogy about the light and
Yeah, and,
and the bugs because it's so true and everybody can understand that.
and it's the same for the darkness as well. You don't, if you kind of walk into a room and there's no light on it, you don't have, you could trip over anything,
Yeah.
because it's just completely dark and you can't see things. So when you turn on the light switch, that provides information for you to navigate. So you can be blinded by the darkness as well, and be pulled and sucked into that. And then you'll only damage yourself by, stumbling over things or being lured into things that seem something at first, but are much worse. That when once you're in them. So the dark and the light can blind people. So that's why it's important to be aware of both aspects of that and not be in that kind of neutral
Yeah.
zone. Like a magnet, you don't know where the positive blends into the negative, charge, polarity. That somewhere between, there's a neutral zone where neither do, but both do at the same time. And we're that sort of electromagnetic being. And so
Exactly.
getting people into that, I call it the neutral zone, the now. Basically, it's not the past or the future; it's the now, present. Gets that sort of pause there before they react and get pulled into the light or the dark. So these kind of, you know, this is all the sort of consciousness technology that Star Family and, Source are bringing through in people at the moment. It's not kind of machinery, because we can build machines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's organic. It's all organic tech that's being upgraded, as you know. Um, and these are sort of the wonderful things, bits of information and tools and tips that are coming through now. So it's really lovely seeing it, the effect on people when they, find their true calling, kind of thing. So yeah, love it. I love it. That's why I'm so enthusiastic about this. I could go on for ages about it, but it's yeah, it's a joy, to just to not to just to bring these frequencies through and help others bring theirs through, because it's not about me, it's about all of us bringing that new earth through us,
Yeah.
and I love hearing other people's kind of, flavors, and so what they, because they, everyone's got some amazing ideas, and so that's what's so nice about these cozy kind of Wednesday chats. This one's the open one. So I don't think you've seen the intro that I've done. Shall we run that, Jane? I'm not.
Sure.
I know that we haven't got many people in at the moment, but that's that's just the way it is. People come and go. So yeah, let's run the VT, as they say, and so Joe can see the what we're kind of all about at Positive Living
Sure.
Community.
Oh,
On the go. Hang on a minute. It's coming through. Need to optimize the sound. There we go.
So welcome everyone. Welcome to the PLC for all you. Can you see that? If you really kind of want to come out of the matrix and you're in the right place. This is really a new sort of frontier, and we're setting up this lovely holistic society around the world. And so there's loads of new opportunities for people to bring their skills, talents, vocations, visions, frequencies into the mix, and co-create some wonderful things. So positive living communities is basically we will help people build hubs around the world. We've got all these different benefits. Essentially, it's a holistic template where you have a community hub, you have a health hub, you have an enterprise hub, a lawful hub, and a resources hub, all in one big juicy PLC hub. So there's all sorts of different aspects to it. Essentially, what it is, it's an area that you set up either indoors or outdoors. It could be in one building, in one room, like a community hall, or it can be in several buildings, or even tents if you want to set it up in a field, maybe when the weather's better. So yeah, and within that are those 5 hubs, and really you're at the centre of that. So all these hubs work for you. They help you to find your vocation. They can help you with health advice, community advice, also resources that we share with people, and lawful advice as well to help you resist those unlawful claims, etc. So yeah, essentially, we've got various packages or various kind of ways of doing things. We use Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is a good way of looking at that sort of whole human and what a human needs effectively. And then to help people kind of uncouple from the kind of the matrix, the slavery matrix, and find their own kind of vocation, we use Ikigai, which is a sort of Japanese philosophy, and really it's essentially 4 questions that we ask people to answer. And from those answers, hopefully we can find a sort of cluster or a role or a true life calling that they can get paid for and that they love to do and that they're good at. And also the world needs. So, also there's other resources such as the learning journeys and various other supplementary kind of data as well. So yeah, we do calls each week. This week it's the public calls. Next week it's the members calls. So it's lovely to have you join us. And yeah, we offer advice, basically how to get your hubs together, particular issues, etc., with the members, and also for people who are just coming into to this sort of holistic alternative way of living. We kind of help people and guide them to understand what that's all about, really, because it's lots of new terms, lots of new concepts. And so yeah, coaching and advice for people coming out of the matrix into that sort of holistic society, and coaching and advice for people who already got their hubs up and running and are doing a marvelous job, and may need some support and advice on certain issues like team dynamics, etc., or mindset shifts and things like that. So, or even how to run, the hub in ways that are more kind of supportive for each member. So part of that, we've got the 2 learning journeys. We've got the one for the individual to help them come out of suffering. It's really finding your own freedom. I put a chap there with a silver suit and a foil hat, just to emphasise he's owning his freedom, and he's strolling across the street in his golden bubble of light, fully in charge of his life and living the dream. This is really, it's jovial cover, but actually it's quite serious. You know, it's actually helping a lot of people to come out of the suffering that they're in, or the situations that they're in that are causing them suffering. And a lot of that is a psychological issue or a circumstance issue. And so it's really important to help people find their own resilience and empowerment, really. So that's that learning journey for the individual. But also we've got one for the community as well. So if you want to co-create a community of people, how can you do that on a harmonic level, on a loving, kind, unity consciousness level? Because obviously there's lots of dynamics with different people involved, and that's really good as well, because it helps you to sort of find that common thread that unites you all, and help you to build your communities together, and become more resilient and more resourceful and have more options. So those two journeys are really good if you want to go through those are great. We give advice and coaching on those as well. So really, yeah, this is actually extending each month. Really, we've got more and more people we're finding are similar-minded, community groups, holistic groups, just getting on with it really. We're affiliated with the People's Food and Farming Alliance, the People's Health Alliance. We're also food ambassador for Food Finders Hub UK. I also run Stand in the Park as well, so we're linked with Stand in the Park. We've got Free Energy Nationwide, which is brilliant. They help to replace meters and things like that. And then, so we've got Nourish Network as well. They grow food and support their community with the food. We've got Star Teachings Protocol. That's my other website. And we've got Inspirations PLG, which is the lovely Jackie White's group, Positive Living group. And we've also got the Blandford Community, Holistic Community group there as well. That's just a local holistic group, lovely group there. And there's many more, around the world. I've just put this up just to kind of give you an idea that we're sort of interconnecting with loads of different groups and networks, and they're all kind of really positive and really actually making a difference, and not kind of, really being part of the old ways that control and full of hierarchy and all those horrible things. So yeah, as part of that, we offer a hub starter kit for people who join PLC. It's literally from scratch. What do you do to create a hub, a local community hub in your area with your community? Literally, if you have no idea, this is a good starter kit, because it helps you from dot to do sort of various practical things to get your group of people together and start, forming an idea of what you want to do. So that's just been released, and we've also got the Hub Starter Kit 2. 3-month members, you get a Hub Starter Kit 2, so that's a bit more detail about. That's once you've got your group together and you're meeting regularly, what sort of things can you do? So group activities, and various other things. I don't want to give it all away, so you'll have to become a member to see what it's all about. And we're just actually, I'm working on Hub Starter Kit 3, which is for the 6-month members as well, because then there's a sort of progression really as you gather your tribe, and that develops. You also kind of have to take on more different kind of dynamics really, and so that's helping with that. So yeah, this is like the hand of love poking its way out towards you through the horrible slavery matrix of material world of lots of NPCs and lots of narcissists and all those horrible people. We're reaching out to you and saying there's a brilliant community of loving, kind, expanded consciousness people who are really just getting on with it and trying to be conscious about what they're doing, and just trying to make things better for themselves and other people. So please, it would be such a joy to have you as members and help you out. So please have a look at the website and see see if you'd like to become a member.
Gosh,
There we go.
I feel quite privileged watching that.
It's a, like I say, it's a lovely template, and
Yeah,
it's you know, what it does is it's so kind of sacred geometry that it includes everyone's frequency. Is the only way I can explain it.
yes,
And it needs that. It's not something that can be done with one person kind of leading it. So it's a very organic kind of sacred geometric fractal, if you like. And each person that comes and joins the PLC becomes part of that greater fractal. So it's lovely because there are no leaders, you know, and there's no kind of we don't use facial recognition here, and there's no discrimination. You know, the only thing that we do encourage is people to know about sacred living space and how to hold that for other people, and then, you know, we're all holding sacred space for each other, and we have these little lovely sanctuaries around the world where people are doing that. So you can come into those, and that's your kind of 5D bubble that's going to be spreading out eventually as these networks connect. And having that important sacred living space is so vital, because it's like
yeah,
it's kind of like a fertile nurturing ground where people can kind of be their authentic selves and not feel ashamed or, you know, woo woo, or, you know, and it's full of people who want to support you with, you know, love and their own repository of knowledge to assist and stuff. So it's a wonderful and growing environment, as well as a sort of sanctuary. And because there's no kind of leaders, in a way, in these spaces, you can be on your own in a corner reading a lovely book about holistic life, etc., if you want to chill out on your own. Or you can join, you know, a bunch of people on the sofa or on the, you know, having a social conversation, you know, it's up to you, because you're, you know, your own boss, kind of thing. So that's what I love about these community hubs. They're lovely little sacred spaces and sanctuaries, I would say, 5D sanctuaries, for people to start becoming their true, more authentic self and their full expression. You know, it's a kind of win-win situation. So I was going to what? So I was really going to start quickly a list of what's gone on recently, just to bring people up to speed, and and then go around everyone and say hello, and catch up with how their week's been. So yeah, the first thing I've got is woke is on the wane. Now, woke is on the wane because we've just today, I think it was, we had a ruling from the Supreme Court saying basically that transgender women are not women. And I think that's the right decision, because, you know, if you know the difference between psychology and biology, you know, and the way that's been manipulated, and you know that generally there's two genders. You know, there's a few between that, and just that's the way nature works, but predominantly it's two. And so also, you know, the trans rights was actually they were discriminating, which is ironic. You know, they were saying, you know, you have to abide by our rules, yet they weren't abiding by society's rules. So they
yeah.
were trying to kind of manipulate the situation, but not tolerant of others' situations or beliefs. So in some ways, that's a ruling for common sense. Now, that's not to say, you know, if you want to be a unicorn, monk, fairy, ninja, turtle, butterfly, whatever you want to identify as, that's cool with me. You know, it makes the world a lot more varied and wonderful. But, you know, imposing one's beliefs on others is a form of dictatorship, is a form of tyranny, and is a form of violence, whether you're transgender or you're not. So I think that's good that that ruling was today. I don't really comment about things like that, but it's a ruling for common sense, because it was trampling on women's rights predominantly, and making them more vulnerable. So I'm glad that that ruling's come about. So, but, you know, let's love everyone basically, and let's not be in conflict with other people, essentially, and find common threads and unity with them, rather than, you know, form a tribe and then kind of say everyone else who's not in our tribe is the enemy, because that way has worked very well at dividing people for thousands of years. So this is, part of the new way of breaking those old cycles. So next thing on the agenda is to thank Jane and Shareva. Thank you, Jane and Shareva, for being marvelous supporters, for helping with the Star Talks and helping facilitate these calls, because it's so important that we have, even a sanctuary online for Wednesday for just 1 hour, that we can, help people understand about holistic kind of lifestyle and community hubs and stuff is brilliant. So I love it. What have we got? Oh yes, so we just recently had Robin's. Is Robin with us at the moment today? No, he's not. Okay, Robin's a PLC member, and he's just had a wellness event that went down really well in, near Taunton, Somerset. And who did he have? Was it Dolores Carhill, or have I got the?
No, Doctor. Sorry, brain's gone.
Anyways, had really good results. Loads of
Tess
people
Laurie.
coming. Tess Laurie, that's it. Sorry. Loads of people coming, and so it's a growing energy system, and basically it's kind of affiliated like us with the PHA, People's Health Alliance, and it's lovely to see people. His main kind of principle, as well as ours, is that you take back control of your health, take back control of your health data. You don't fall into these hierarchical kind of scenarios where a doctor will give you a diagnosis and you think that's the end of your life, and then they arrogantly assume that you can't take any other medication, etc., or explore that. So, having a wellness event where, it's a holistic event where people come along and have wellness chats, just casually with a cup of tea on a sofa about what they can do to improve their health or potential remedies, etc., is brilliant. I think that's really good, and it proves it, because actually more and more people are coming to his events. And I was just going to say, actually, well done, Robin, for doing that. And he's also affiliated with the World Council for Health as well. So that's good. That's a health hub, a wellness hub, or a wellness centre that's up and running in Taunton. Also, just quick while I'm talking about PHA, People's Health Alliance, we've got on the 23rd of April, it's their 3rd year anniversary. So they're going to put a shout in for positive living communities, which is really nice. So I wrote a little piece to Lisa to put in there. I think they're doing a newsletter, just to say how lovely it is working with them. Every now and then we do a call with the Australian and New Zealand PHA, and it's like something like 6 in the morning. I have to get up, but it's great fun because they're really doing really well over there. They've got their community and health hubs up and running, and they're really going gusto. So, and their communities are growing as well, because it's not that governmental control sort of stuff. So it's just grassroots people and communities. We've got next bit of news. We've got PLC Hub opening up hopefully in Blandford soon. There's a scout hut I've got my beady eyes on that's got a nice space, and we can get some stalls in and some people and a cafe and just invite members. So that would be a nice little sanctuary in Blandford. And also, a way of encouraging local producers and growers and stuff to have a place to sell their produce, etc. So that's really cool. So that's I think the run of the list for this week. But there's always absolutely bags going on, absolutely loads, and I could bore you all to death with it, but I actually want to stop talking because I'm a bit bored of my own voice now, and I want to kind of go around you guys and see what you've been up to, and why you came along to the PLC, and what excites you, sort of things. So shall I ask you, Jane, how's your week been? Your garden seems to be coming on.
Yes, garden's coming on. Well, apart from yesterday when it was absolutely torrential rain, I didn't get anything done out there. But lots of stuff growing. Got tomato plants, lots of them, and cucumbers and stuff. Onions are sprouting, and salad is sprouting. So yeah, lots and lots happening out there. Plenty of website stuff for you for Farmers Movement Cornwall. I've been
Oh yeah,
doing
how did
something.
that petition?
They want a petition. It's obviously for Cornwall to put pressure on the council to have a food security document, a positive food security, to actually work to put together a group of people that are actually working with farmers to bring in food security. So, you know, every little helps.
Well, that might be.
I know it's governmental and I know it's quite 3D, but their ideas are in the right direction. That's the important thing.
Well, no, I mean, I know that councils they've got good and bad apples in them.
Yeah.
They're not just all corrupt. Some people are naively working there and wanting to do their best, sort of thing. So, but also as well, Cornwall's got its own kind of separate law, so it might actually might work with Cornwall
It
because
might.
they've got their own jurisdiction, as if you like. So
Stannery. We've got
yeah,
Stannery law in Cornwall. I know that's not what the council works with, but it still is here. It was never repealed.
and
Or
also
changed.
you've got common law as well, so you can
Yeah.
potentially use those two to because they're still in operation, so there's part of the
Of course.
constitution. So good stuff. Well, I don't. The thing about petitions is that they're another little obstacle. I've seen them disappear when they've reached a number and the government hasn't liked it.
But I'm doing it on the site.
Yeah, no, you're different
So
because you're not government.
total
And
control. We'll have control of it. They
good,
can't, they can't change the numbers on it, and we'll
good,
tell them what they are and show them what they are. So, well, I won't. They will.
good. No, that's good. I mean,
So,
because I've seen the petitions, the government form petitions, and they've been messed
yeah,
around, changed the numbers, etc., etc. So
yeah. No, this one I will have control of.
good stuff. Well, good luck with that, and keep us posted
Yeah,
because
will
if
do.
we can add to that petition as well from outside of Cornwall, that would be good.
Yeah,
Okay, great. Thank you, Jane.
great.
Joe,
That's right.
how are you? It's been ages. What have you been up to?
Was that me?
Yes,
Oh,
Cue
yeah.
Joe.
Sorry, I got too involved in Jane listening. uh, oh, it's been absolutely magical, as you know. And we've got the Healing Health Club hub, which Adrian's part of.
Brilliant.
And it has the whole concept about what we wanted to do. We want to be able to have places, um, sections for animals, sections for the homeless that can be brought in and people can help and give them dignity back. Places for growing. It's just a whole concept, and it's really, really amazing. We meet about every 2 weeks on a Zoom, and it's been extraordinary, really, really good. And I'm quite content with everything that's going on. And I've had a couple of um, uh, upgrades recently, which I've been really grateful for in the sense that they have helped. Uh, it's happened at a perfect time of the year when it's dark, and I can write and I can be on my own. You know where I am, Matt, and it's time for coming out now, and I think it's really an amazing positive time. And when I listen to, um, I'm not advertising, but when I listen to Pam Gregory
No, please do. She's lovely.
talk with Theta Austin about the new frequency, it was just it's extraordinary how things are moving so quickly and so positive, and you feel that energy with the positivity, and the physical body has to adapt, and every time something comes up, you think, well, thank you very much. It was only a few weeks ago, with this hip problem, I realized I'd never thanked my hip for looking after me for 82 years.
Mhm.
And I just went through this amazing emotional thing with it. I said, thank you. You've never let me down once. So this is your time just to relax, and I'll do whatever I can to help.
That's so true. That's absolutely lovely. I hope you thank the other hip as well. Don't want that one to get jealous and suddenly kind of give way as well. But yeah, that's
No,
so true. Gratitude, if you can kind of value yourself, then you can value the external world. And equally, if you could find value in that sort of external world, it adds value to you as well. So
yes,
that's really, really, and you're doing such great work as well, Joe, down there. Helping so many people. It's great. It's wonderful to have this network of really high vibe people who, each one of us has got a kind of specialist skill, just a natural kind of calling, if you like, and
no,
they don't overlap each other as well. They
no,
just enhance each other. So it's brilliant to be part of that network of holistic kind of high vibe people who are expanding their consciousness and kind of really kind of turning things around on the physical. It's
yes,
not just this kind of
yeah,
purvey in the mind. It's
no.
we're actually doing the footwork as well. So
And as you know from Stand in the Park, I think I've figured I've met 125 people in the whole concept since, when was it, 20, in spring of 20, when all the closed down happened. Um, and it's been absolutely amazing. It's family. And this is how we've lived as a human race for thousands of years, is as a community and looking after each other. And when
it's
you come together with people that are part of the family, you would do anything. They would do anything for you. You would do anything for them. And it's just the way to live.
it's a trust and tested formula. It's worked for thousands of years, like you say, with different community groups around the world, and it's our natural part of our natural frequencies to be
Yeah.
in community with each other and sharing and stuff. So it's really ancient, but kind of modern tech as well. Because it's timeless. That type of collective frequency. When we all come together and we feel that love for each other, it's brilliant. And here's us kind of dancing away, having a whale of a time while the rest of the world crumbles to bits and everyone's kind of losing their heads. It's quite ironic that we're kind of building foundations and stuff and then partying in our kind of minds and being really kind of uplifted and positive because we know we're getting on with some really good stuff while the other stuff that was couldn't be supporting itself because it was a lie
And
effectively is just falling.
old structures have to break down before new ones can be built.
Absolutely.
And it's been, as you know, when I walked away from America, lovely lifestyle, everything was perfect, but I didn't answer the call in the heart. And one day I just looked, had a lovely Christian family and everything was all right, but nobody could answer why I was, waking up at night and seeing myself in bed, and why I was having these out of body experiences. And I had to find that out. And one day I just looked in the mirror and I said, look, it was the 60s. And all my surfing friends and everything were blowing themselves out with drugs. And I thought, I've got to find out why I'm here. And I just looked in the mirror and I said, I I gave it my whole heart and said, look, thy will be done. Whatever, or I've got to know what my purpose is, or I'm out of here. And I walked away and I worked, well, I worked for the doctor here for 45 years. I walked with a suitcase and I worked for nothing. And time is energy.
Yeah.
So the payback is coming now. It's not this, and yet it is this. If you need this, it's there. And it's just a really, really extraordinary experience.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Part of the mindset shifts is helping people realize that they are actually the ocean and not the wave. You know, we see ourselves as this kind of external separate body, but actually we're kind of just condensed soup in a more less condensed soup, if you like. And we're just in our lovely, unique, different kind of expressions. So yeah, it's really, it's you know, it's wonderful to tap into that vastness of the universe within us, and bring those qualities out, and share them with others, because that's the kind of wave of information that's going around the planet.
Yeah.
And those are kind of like the routes or the pathways for people out of the nonsense, you know. So they're actually really important things to talk about as well. Thank you, Joe. I'm conscious of the time. I'm going to move on now, but appreciate everything you're doing. Thank you. Jenny, hi. Nice to see you again.
Hi there. Yeah, sorry, I just want to try and stay in the loop because there's been too many life happenings and I haven't been able to get here.
It's always the way.
So yeah.
How's the week been?
So I've not yeah, so well, for the first time in about 9 weeks, it's been better.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So and I was doing a fair at the weekend. I was over in Ilkley
All right, okay.
in West Yorkshire doing a weekend fair. So I did a workshop, spiritual coaching. So, and it was a lovely get together time. You know, there's so many lovely people there, beautiful souls, real good connections made. I go there twice a year since they restarted a couple of years ago. So that's really nice. As far as anything in the community, that's just not there yet, but that's why I want to just keep tapping in. I would have been the other days, but you know, the other weeks that you've been running, but I just haven't been able to with what's
That's fine.
my ceiling collapsed basically.
Oh no.
Yeah, so so I just didn't really have a room or a space or anything. Everything was just upside down. So
Well, yeah, I can imagine that's quite a big deal when your ceiling
yeah,
collapses.
yeah.
But well, thanks for coming on the call.
So,
And you know, if you those spiritual fairs that you go to, have you noticed they're bigger now or smaller now? Just out of
um,
interest.
they are smaller, and what I would have said about this one was that it was quality over quantity.
Okay.
It was the yeah, a lot of people who really wanted to be there for what they were for what was there, if you know if you understand, yeah. So it's very yeah, very much a time of we're in very much a time of things changing and shifting, and like Joe was saying, everything has to collapse in order to let the new come in.
Yeah.
And that's very much, I mean, you can't get anything bigger than a ceiling collapsing, which took me into like a 3 week dark night of the soul where all sorts of things were shit. I'm thinking, why is that? Why is that coming to my mind? And it was just everything just releasing, shifting, and healing.
Yeah.
Because as it lifts it and shifts, it heals. So it's been very much a time of yeah, just very much a time of self-reflection and self-healing and just going with the flow and allowing what happens to happen in its own time frame, in divine timing, basically.
Right. No, that's a really, you know, I'm of the same ethos. Really, we've got the flow of universe going through us all the time, and the one true constant about life is change. You know, that's actually, so the more you resist that sort of change, the more you build up that dis-ease inside you. So yeah, and also, you know, in that higher state of consciousness, you know that it's not bad, it's not good, it just is.
Yeah.
And you know, you kind of you're not attaching, you're not swimming in emotion like, oh my God, what am I going to do, kind of thing. So you know, it's a lot kind of a nicer headspace to be in, even if disasters are kind of going on around you, because you're not engaging or entangling in those kind of those emotional threads, sort of thing. You're letting them come through, seeing them inform you, but you're
Yeah.
not tangling in them. So and that's keeping a cool head, really. You know, which is what everyone recommends in times of crisis anyway.
Mm.
And if you like, that's this whole past 4 or 5 years has been a time of crisis. We're going through that big scramble, of the old way into the new ways. So yeah, good. And another point about that is as well with high vibe people, we don't get daunted by things. I mean, Joe had an issue with his camera, but he kind of eventually found the button and the right thing to press, and lo and behold, we see the lovely Joe. Us kind of high vibe people, we don't kind of get defeated. We don't go, oh, it won't work, kind of thing. We're kind of busy thinking of ways around things. How can I do it in a different way? How can I? So we're always coming up with solutions for things as well. That's what I like as well about these kind of holistic kind of attitudes, because if you come across a stumbling block, you're like, well, that's not going to defeat me. I'm going to kind of circumvent this one in my own unique way. So you're a perfect example.
Yeah, but that's very much what I had to do, because I was like, well, where am I going to work from? So I thought I'll try the library. Absolutely no chance. I didn't know it had become a community library, so it was
Oh,
so
okay.
noisy. So that didn't work. So yeah, you just have to keep reinventing and finding ways through so that you can actually do something. And then, of course, alongside of that, it's like, well, no, hang on a minute. You're supposed to just rest.
Yeah,
Because you need to rest. There was lots of times where I was just exhausted from everything that was happening, because this was all taking over my life and I couldn't get back into my work again and things like that. So and I just thought, no, just surrender it to source and just let it go. It'll be what it'll be, and you will get to the event and you will be able to do your workshop, and and I just let it go, and then it all just fell into place about 8 to 10 days before. So
perfect. I mean, people don't realize that that burnout is very common. Fatigue is very common, whether it's mental fatigue or physical fatigue. So learning, a sick doctor can't heal any patients. So learning to kind of practice the pause or rest is actually progress. It's not actually not doing anything. You're making progress in that pause, in that recharge or recover. So yeah, and actually factoring that into your lifestyle. I'm doing this, so I'll need a break here. Not self-indulgently, obviously, but factoring them in is actually most efficient, because then you're optimum all the time. You're
yeah.
your most efficient kind of all the time. So yeah, that's another good point. In kind of the higher vibes, you recognize that actually rest and recuperation is progress, even though it may not seem it from your bed full of biscuit crumbs, but it is actually progress. So yeah, good point there. Thank you, I appreciate that. So I'm just going to move on now. Who
Thank you.
who who have we got now? We've got hi 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 Juice. Hi,
Hi.
how are you? All right?
Yeah, I heard about you just the other day, and I'm after like-minded people. My name's Alex, by the way. So I didn't know
Nice
what.
to meet you. Your microphone's a bit jittery, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Maybe I'll bring it closer. Is that any better?
Still a bit jittery for some reason.
Not a lot I can do because it's on my
Yeah.
laptop.
Never mind. Well, we'll try and decipher. I think I can hear generally what you're saying. Nice. Well, anyway, I just wanted to say thanks for coming on the call, and nice to meet you. As you can hear, we're kind of this is our regular Wednesday kind of meetup with holistic people basically who want to just create their own kind of separate kind of reality from the crazy one out there at the moment.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, what brought you to the call?
Well, enlightenment and like-minded people, and I'm like 4 months into giving up drugs and changing my life, which has been great. Real adventure, and I'm 4 days into being fasting for the first time everything else move on, you know, and have a better life, you know, and be the best that they can be. You know,
Brilliant.
like you guys are all obviously on that path, you know, way ahead by the looks of it. But,
well, there's no, I mean, what's nice is there's no competition or race as well, you know, everyone's at their own level and everyone wants to help each other out at whatever level we're at. And like, you know, you're discovering it's a whole new language, isn't it? It's a new way of kind of looking at everything, really, you know, completely everything. So it's and I'm so glad that you're kind of finding that space now, after going through, you know, that life process, you know, and actually that's quite important. That's your kind of testing grounds, really, because you can use your life incidents and experiences, and you know, can see people from where you were, you know, back then, you know, so you can then apply, say, those kind of ladders to help them out. Would say, hey, why not try this if you're stuck like this? You know, why not try that because it worked for me, kind of thing. So this is, you know, brilliant as well. People who have that kind of rich life experience are really valued, because it's from the horse's mouth. It's not this kind of coulda, shoulda, woulda, supposed stuff, academic kind of, you know, nonsense. Actually living and breathed experiences, and those are the best people to advise others who are, you know, and also identify people like them, you know, who are in that suffering as well. So you know, that's great. You're obviously very much aligned with kind of the way that we think about, you know, helping others as well. And that's just a natural, you know, I found that service to others is actually service to self, because it's also you're given a role that you take quite important, you know, because you've experienced the situation yourself. So when you can kind of start applying those not those traumas, those lessons, because they turn into lessons. When you can start applying those kind of life lessons to others, before they hit the rock bottom bit that we hit, sort of thing, then that's great. It's a pathway out, and they're not stuck going around in these either mind loops or kind of situational loops. And that's what all this kind of PLC and the People's Health Alliance and World Council for Health and many others, that's what we're all about, you know, giving each other support. It's unity consciousness, heart-based unity consciousness. It's very simple, you know, instead of kind of thinking about why someone is different, we actually think, well, you know, what's similar to them that's similar to me, sort of thing. So yeah, good stuff. So what sort of you know, do you have a vocation that you want to explore more, or?
Sort of more enlightenment studies. I'm on another webinar where we're doing that. More like Kundalini yoga and stuff, you know, veganism. I've got an allotment.
Great.
You know, grow my own food. I live in Richmond.
In Richmond,
which is got it, in London, which has got its good and bad. You know, there's a lot of what I call Nazis, which I shouldn't really, but that, you know.
It's all right. You don't have to be PC here. Politically correct.
I just think it describes them well, but it's not their fault, really. I guess maybe, who knows? But I spend a lot of time on my own, and I now feel that it's time to venture out and meet other people in groups. You know, because I'd like to get involved, meet more people, share the energy. You know, it's all about energy, as you said earlier, and I think I've got a lot of it to give. I've got a lot to give, you know, and a lot of knowledge, like you say.
Well, this is, you know, what's really good about the last 5 years is that a lot of people, you know, when you're waking up, when you're going through that dark night of the soul sort of stuff and questioning everything and realizing that you've been lied to and stuff, you know, it's a very lonely place, because you're losing kind of friends and family that don't understand you as you're kind of ascending, you know, so they just think you're absolutely crazy. So it's a very kind of quarantining, it's a very sort of isolating time, but in some ways it's necessary, because you have to kind of sterilize your old ways in a way, cut those energy cords, reshift your priorities and stuff like that. And you can't bring everyone with you, because everyone's on their own journey. That's fine. That's, they're their own place where they are, and that's fine. But, if you lose a lot of people, and it's very sort of isolating. And so it's nice actually when you, the last 5 years or so, a lot of people were like that 5 years ago, thinking, I'm on my own here. And, I don't know anyone near me who's the same mindset or similar to me, who sees the same things as me. But over that kind of last 5 year period, these communities have set up around the world, literally around the whole world. And now we've got kind of places to connect with each other who are like minds. It's the network of light. It's the rainbow network of light that the Hopis talk about in their prophecy. And so it's kind of like we're forming our own human organic ley lines, if you like. And these are these sort of networks, the holistic networks. So when you do feel like coming out and being proactive, because that's what it's all about, really. We don't want any fence sitters and stuff. But when you do feel like being proactive, there's, we're happy to welcome you as a PLC member, and get you, if you want to get a group of people around in Richmond who are like you, and meet up and start getting that together. That's that's what we're all about. So you don't have to think that you're isolated as well. And other examples are where we've had these meetups before. Two people have realised that they've lived in the same town. So they started meeting up, and it's really lovely because they're not now alone. They're kind of like, oh my goodness, someone else I can talk to about real stuff, not all the shallow fakery. So we are getting more and more people together, and forming those networks and communities. So yeah, and if you haven't got one, we can help you set that up. And if you have got one, we can help with the dynamics of that as well, so that you've got that nice harmonic, basically. So yeah, happy to help. So how are we doing for time, Jane? Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice talking to you. Thank you.
1 minute to 9.
Dun dun dun. Gosh. Oh, wow. How good was that? Timing. Well, time doesn't exist, but there we go. Timing. Thank you, everyone. Brilliant to see you all. And I absolutely love these weekly meetings because it's so important. It's reaffirming stuff. That there are people out there who think like you, who want to get on with it, who want to create a different reality that's a lot more loving and a lot more holistic. So yeah, let's just get on with that and carry on as you were. And we'll all meet up soon. And thanks again. And we've got the members call next week. So if you remember, we can get down to the nitty gritty of your particular hubs or issues and stuff. So thank you all for being on here.
Will you send us an email like you did this time? Okay, yes. Just so I know what. Yeah.
Yes, certainly. Thanks, Joe.
Okay.
Will do. Much love, everyone.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank
Nice
you.
meeting everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.